Hi, everybody. It's Alex Jarett with Technology Executives Club. I'm here with Tim Walter. Hi, Tim.
Good morning, Alex. How are you today?
It's great to see you. And Tim is the CIO at Edward Don and Company. And today's topic is lessons learned from a successful AI project. Be sure and watch all of our videos at technologyexecutivesclub.com. So, Tim, it's great to see you. And for everybody who's new to you, you're CIO at Edward Don and Company, North America's largest provider of restaurant supplies.
North America, Canada, and we're starting to expand beyond there.
That's great. You were at our summit, and you've also now recorded a presentation on a successful AI project where you identified that you could get a big ROI out of increasing the throughput on your RFP process. And you used AI to do that. And it was right out of the chute, extremely successful and growing, correct?
Yeah, definitely a great project for us to put our foot in the water of the AI world. And we're really excited that we were able to make it across the line and we're continuing to improve it today.
And what was great is that your AI project not only succeeded in a big way, it also solved a lot of other problems for you in the process. For example, helping you with the tribal knowledge issue that everybody knows we have. And it's a big success. And that was just the first project. And now you have another project that you're working on. So, what we're going to do in this video today is you're going to share your framework or your key lessons learned. What's the first main lesson that you want everybody to start with?
The first lesson, Alex, is you have to begin with the business problem first. We do this in all our projects. Everybody focuses on saying, what are our pain points? And you have to begin there. So when we started this, we said, what is it we're trying to solve? And again, this is very basics. It's getting back to the basics. There is a lot of pressure coming from the board, leadership, everybody saying, hey, we need AI, we need AI. But it's just one of the things that it is going to be here, I feel, for a long time. But when you start looking at what are our pains, how do we improve what we're trying to do, you have to begin with the problem. From there, just like any other project, you say, okay, these are the things we're trying to do. What is our end game? How do we get to that end game? Then you work backwards a little and say, okay, now there may be, and I'm going to say maybe because there's no guarantee, there could be an AI solution. AI has been around for a long time. We've all been using it in different ways, RPA, machine learning, conversational. It's just to a point where it really has made it into the mainstream. Now there's the opportunity to say, okay, yes, this can be solved using some AI technology, but it's still a business process. It's a flow. We still have to begin with the business needs as we start down the journey.
I think that's so important. I'm really glad that you started with that because I know just from our community, a year and a half ago, I said, hey, we got to start talking about AI more. And a lot of the CIOs in our group were saying, no, it's not as important. Fast forward a year later, they're all saying to me, the pressure is on the CEOs, the board, everybody thinks that they know about AI, right?
Right. Everybody's seeing it in the news.
Yeah, they're seeing it and they're using it. It's the consumerization of technology. We saw this in the cell phone. We saw this with the internet, where they're all using it and they think it's straightforward and they want to use it. Now, the challenge for the technology leader is the pressure's on. And once you take that project, if you don't do it right, who's responsible?
There is a target on your back right now if you're a technology leader saying, how are you making AI be effective? Of course, we all want to look at AI and say, yes, I want to play with the newest toys. I want to be able to solve a problem using some of the newer, and let's call it fun, exciting technologies.
Yes, sure.
And we can all learn from it. The challenge we had was we didn't want to just throw money at a problem. A lot of people, and you've just said it recently, threw money at things and projects weren't getting their ROI. We looked at it as saying, again, what is our core problem? Then how does technology help solve that? And that's where AI stepped up and was able to be that solution.
I think that was a great strategy. I had someone else recently give us a presentation. They talked about finding the friction points on your key processes. And that's literally what you did. You knew you had a key process called the RFPs. What was the throughput before and after the project?
Yeah, we responded to only about 5% of the RFPs pre-project, only about 5%, which really limited our ability to be competitive. We actually had to turn customers away. I'll give some statistics. It would take us 5 to 6 weeks of manual processing to respond to a 1,600 line RFP. Very difficult, not easy. We didn't have a big staff. We're trying to be lean and mean. This is
Yeah.
where AI really can step in and help with some of those automations. So we would reply to 5% of the RFPs. Now, good news is we'd usually win most of what we applied to. What if you could reply to 10, 15, 20% of those RFPs?
Right.
That then really gives us that next step of, wow, we actually can turn around things to our customer. And what's our ultimate goal? To engage our customer and solve their problems.
Right.
Just like internally to IT, we want to solve our internal customer problems. We also want to help our external customers. So we've been able to double, triple, quadruple, depending on the size of the RFP, our response. Using the tool, we're able to take that 1,600 line RFP that took us 5 to 6 weeks
Yeah.
and get an answer with an 86% accuracy in 20 minutes. Now we're focusing resources on exceptions, not the work. We're using AI to actually say, you do the repetitive, the difficult, the very, what is it, that research,
Yeah.
and let our people say, well, now I'm going to put my knowledge of the customer behind it. Instead of programming that knowledge, I actually have our people saying, okay, nope, you chose option one. It should have been option two.
Yeah.
This gets us into our third learning, which we'll get to in a minute, about
Yeah.
teaching the system. But it really shows a big change. And our goal is to grow 20 to 30 million in the first year. We're a little behind, but not off track. We're really making some great progress.
So let's summarize. You solve the business problems first. And I've heard it explained as it could be something that was going to give you a higher revenue or something was going to significantly decrease your expenses. And the third one I've heard is better customer experience. And you
Yes,
increase the revenue. And we had customers that were asking for RFPs, you couldn't even get to them.
we
Now
couldn't
you
even
have
get to them yet.
now you have significantly better customer service because a lot of this, I'm sure, is repeat business, and you just got to get to them, right?
Right. And think about that. That actually grows your market share because you're able to respond. And your second point, we're saying, well, you're trying to manage expense. We could have thrown bodies at this and that would have blown the expense away. So are we still managing expenses? We're managing the expenses by giving that a higher quality service without having to add a lot of resources.
So I think the advice then, when someone's looking at their business issues first, we're not talking about innovation yet necessarily, right?
Right.
The
Automation. Look at the processes. We all know our processes. Our team
yes,
members, our people know their processes. Where do they feel that they're doing repetitive tasks? That's what the Industrial Revolution did for us. It brought automation to manual, repetitive tasks. We're just taking that to the next level using the technology. And the technology also can do a lot of the research. Our uniqueness is we're doing product comparisons. Well, there's a lot of information comparing one type of glass to another type of glass, how tall, how wide, what's the rim, what's the material. Let the technology scan that really quickly instead of having to have the human being. But our tool did do more, and we'll get to that in a little bit.
so that was great because I think you really helped people say, hey, how do I choose? It doesn't have to be innovation at first. You said it's a walk before you run, but let's make sure that you pick these projects that you have a really good chance of success with. And you gave some great tips on how to do that. What's your next lesson that you want to share?
Yeah, our next lesson was really set expectations. And we always talk about setting expectations, but the AI buzz has made it so much more that it is going to be the panacea. It's going to solve all our problems. What's the old saying? It's going to solve nuclear fusion. We had to make sure that we set an expectation of what we could deliver on, just like you would with any other project. But AI can only take us so far because we have to learn. This is our first step into the AI world. You didn't want to set too high a bar because you didn't want to say, oh my gosh, this is going to do everything and miss the mark. What we wanted to do was actually be realistic. We had to clearly define the outcomes that we were going for. AI would do this, but we still might have to have people doing this. So you
Mhm.
have AI focusing on one part, make sure that we got that, and then we would focus maybe people to focus deeper on another part. And we'll talk a little about that. As we got into the project, we wanted to make sure that the AI was focusing on the parts that slowed the team down and that the team could focus on the parts that give value add. We really need more people focusing on this part of the project versus
Oh,
that part or this part of the process, and make sure we also got the executive buy-in on the expectations. If we didn't focus and align everybody, there was going to be this expectation that the system will do everything and we don't have to do anything. Well, you need the team engaged. The team can't just say, well, AI is going to solve it. Why do I need to work on this project? Why do I need to be in the testing? Why do I need to be there? Just like any other project, we need that alignment, engagement, and we need the executives to be there championing the project for us. I think this was even more so than any other project because everybody thought AI was the answer and there was nothing to do. You had to set realistic expectations.
this is such a great insight. And when I really listen to you, I hear what you're saying. We're getting ready for this. What was that comment you made about everybody's thoughts about AI?
It's going to solve world hunger and you didn't have to do anything.
Exactly. That's what you said. Yeah. And really, there is this hype about AI. It is an amazing, let's be real, it is an amazing technology and it is
Right.
incredible. But I think people are coming into this with different points of view. And I think you correctly identified for that project that this is the area that AI is going to help us with, but it's part of a team. It's part of a team, and this is what the humans are going to do. And we need you in this because you're the ones that have discernment and you also have the knowledge of at the end, you have to make those decisions as to whether this is the right glass or tumbler.
Right. This the right, they're
Yeah.
going to do the quality check, which leads into our next topic, which is about change management, which is going to be really important to make sure we understand what part of the project we need that engagement from.
Yeah. Let's get into change management. I hear you on that because what I have heard that change management is fundamental to these projects because what I am seeing is initially, before we talk about agentic AI and all the other things people are
Yeah.
talking about, for the early successes, using AI as a team member on these processes, they are going to give you ROI if it's successful. That's the secret. But
Right.
what I've heard from you and from other leaders is the key to success is not the AI, it's the change management.
Right. And communications, and we always say this in change management, is key. But one of the first things that people do, and when people resist change, is they feel like they're going to lose something.
Yes.
What we needed to focus on is what were they going to gain? Where were we going to have them focus their energies into higher valued processes and enablement? So instead of saying, okay, well, we're going to bring this AI in and this AI is going to do your job, what we talked about was, team, you're going to have more time to focus on validating what the customer needs. And then we talked about we're going to take away the repetitive tasks. This got that engagement and that buy-in from the team members, which is difficult with change management, because instead of focusing on, well, we're outsourcing or we're replacing you with
Yeah.
that AI tool, what we're saying is we're realigning your activities to more thought-provoking and engaging activities that have a greater value. That was really a key
I
point.
think what you just said is huge. The big fear that is out there right now is AI is going to replace everybody,
Right.
which is very emotional. It's very triggering. And you address that head on. If growth occurs, you're going to have more jobs for everybody, not less jobs for everybody.
Right.